We go live today? Do we have enough connection? I hope so. And how are you today? This is Tuesday, the 5th of November, 2019, and I'm Emily Windsor Craig. And I've been having some interesting goings on here. You know, I started distributing my moon book and handing out copies to neighbors and friends. And the response has been amazing, okay? They're all hiding from me. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to review it. They don't want to think about it. Apparently, broaching the boundary between what you know and what you didn't know but was true is a form of cognitive dissonance that people just really can't get into right now. They just really can't do it. They can't do it. And that's what I've noticed in my wanderings on YouTube, okay? On YouTube, you listen to a speaker talk from their dogma, their beliefs, and their operating system, and the walls go up. And anyone who questions the boundaries is an intruder. Okay, now what's happening is that coherence itself is not being allowed to percolate. Coherence itself. Generally, when we have a position, when we have a point of view, when we have a knowledge of where we're standing, we know how that knowledge fits into a larger picture. Okay, what happened to me today is that, you know, I'm on LinkedIn. Okay, I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm LinkedIn as a retired person. And they keep sending me these job opportunities, okay? And one of them was just so compelling. So I send them an intro letter saying, look, do you really want to send this job opportunity to somebody who's been retired for 10 years? I'm 75 years old. Do you really want to send this to me? Are you sure? Yes, I'm bored. Yes, I could do something else. But aren't there any rules about this where your employment requirements go? All right, so I sent them my vita and my list of publications and my cover letter, and we'll see what they say. But I believe that human resource management has very rigid policies about who they can even talk to about an employment requirement. And that's what brings to mind the realization that we are, as a people, categorized by our divisions to the point we're not allowed to talk to each other. There's a particular Catholic nun on YouTube that has some interesting arguments. I like to listen to her, okay? Because in the overall concept of moral and ethical teachings, she brings up some pretty subtle stuff. And you know, that's what I really dig, is subtle stuff. I like to get into that. And so I leave her comments and they die. They're never responded to. I put comments up on Twitter and they die. They're never responded to. And what is beginning to dawn on me is that what I know is not familiar to people who are bounded by an ideology. Okay, if you're a conservative, I don't know the same stuff you know. And if you're a liberal, I don't know the same stuff you know. And if you're Orthodox, I don't know the same stuff you know. And if you're Quaker, I don't know the same stuff you know. I'm not, I have a little pinky in a lot of different ways of thinking, and I appreciate the positive and the useful and the formative and the progressive in them, but I don't do the dogma. Not doing the dogma is now a sin, okay? You have to do the dogma. You can't cross ideological boundaries and talk about behavior, or else that's when you get censored. That's when the Notsees, N-O-T-S-E-Es, step in, because you're not staying within the paddock of the ideology that you're describing. And it's why things aren't moving. Is the fact that things aren't moving a problem? Yes, because we, the people, should have, about 15 years ago, asked the question of the US government why 9/11 wasn't prosecuted, because they knew damn well how it happened. They knew damn well 15 years ago, but they haven't prosecuted it. And the stonewalling and the foot dragging of the Department of Justice and the FBI have created a situation where the American president is under constant danger of assassination, insubordination, and sedition, but the law enforcement function of the US government is no longer operating in the interest of the stability of the nation. That's how far things have come from the 9/11 attack 18 years ago, that has never been prosecuted by the Department of Justice or the FBI or the CIA or the Five Eyes, who have known all along how it happened. And it may be, as far as I can see, too late to stop the deep state's predation against truth, against rule of law, against representative government, against the will of the people, because we waited too long. I hope I'm wrong, but we have waited too long. The tipping point could occur at any moment, when the only president we've had in 60 years since Kennedy, who's operating to clean out the corruption and clean out the sex trafficking and clean out the blackmail and clean out the bribery and the proxy wars, okay, and the illegitimate corporate hegemony. I don't understand why I haven't seen any antitrust charges against the mainstream media, okay? That doesn't make any sense to me, all right? Because the mainstream media are absolute and monolithic about globalism, 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 and globalism, and no other point of view gets heard from them. How long has this been now? A half a century that they've been hammering on the people to make the Rockefellers and the robber barons king over the people's minds. All right. I'm worried that it may be too late, that the people who are basically just trying to survive haven't spoken up, haven't just said no to the tyranny going on behind the the DEW weapons causing fires, and the UN enforcing Agenda 21 against everyone's culture, against everyone's lives? Have we waited too long to speak up and say no? I hope not. But I'm not seeing any evidence in handing out copies of my moon book that anybody wants to change their mind about what they think is true. What they think is true is being defended to the point that we are immobilized and cannot act upon what is true. It's not being allowed. Are we going to allow the deep state to revert this world to a barbarian collection of mafia methods that commercialism and fascism and communism and socialism and all those isms will want to propagate? Because that's how they move people with violence, because they can't move them by cooperation. Cooperation appears no place on the horizon. Cooperation, as it was taught by my professor, John N. Warfield, Professor Emeritus of University of Virginia, in the form of large group problem solving, facilitation, mediation, arbitration, and so forth, is nowhere on the horizon. What we have is divisions, and boundaries and excuses. The mainstream media is rogue in its determination that globalism is the only valid way to see human society, because globalism's methods are unmoral, amoral, and ruthless. Globalism's methods are the methods of communist Russia and communist China, and, is that what you want? Well, it may be too late unless you step out of your own bounded ideology, your own bounded dogma, and start talking to somebody else about how we need to share survival. It's not something we can just keep to ourselves. It's time to wake up people to the created divisions that have been placed as obstacles to the consent of the public. And this is something that we can actually affect. Open your mind and listen to the other guy, and listen to the fact that he wants to have a free mind also. And listen to the fact that behavior is what determines how civil a society is, not people's beliefs. Beliefs don't matter. Dogma doesn't matter. Doctrine doesn't matter. Only behavior matters. Listen to me. I'm a grandma. Pay attention. We have to act now, or there's no more time.